Welcome to Inner Peace Better Health, where transformation begins with truth and soul meets purpose. I'm your host, Saima, and today's guest is a remarkable Philip Mountrose, holistic coach, energy healer, author, and co founder of Awakenings Institute with his 5 chain. For decades, Philip has helped people awaken to the true nature, guiding them through the inner frontier of self realization. His latest book, Awakening to Your Magnificence, invites each of us to remember who we really are beneath the noise, fear, and programming. Now, if you have ever felt like you are meant to for more, this episode will show that how to be more from the inside out. So, Philip, you have spent decades exploring the journey of self realization. So, how do you define it and what makes it such a vital pursuit in today's world?
Well, thank you for having me on the show here, Saima. Great to be with you. And self-realization is part of our focus here at Awakenings Institute, our nonprofit organization. What we do is give people tools, teach them tools, resources, knowledge so they can empower themselves. And it really starts with a firm foundation of connecting with your heart or soul. Uh, and that's what we discovered years ago. Someone taught us, some teachers, on how to connect with your soul when we were in our 20s years ago. And that really turned everything around on the search for self-realization. And part of it led ultimately to our new book, The Awakening to Your Magnificence, Your Journey into the Next New Frontier for Humanity. And in order to self-realize, we have this roadmap, mysteries roadmap, we call it. And I want to get into that, but maybe first for the listeners, just to give them something experiential, which may be the most important thing, because we're all about empowering yourself, not just getting the truth from outside. And it's great to get good information, such as in this wonderful podcast, but to find it for yourself. And if the listener can, for a moment, if they're safe to close their eyes, they can breathe and have a couple breaths now. And this is how to connect with your heart to get this firm foundation for self-realization, which I think the listener would be interested in. So you can close your eyes if it's a safe place to do, and just have a few nice deep breaths through the nose and just relax. And the idea is as you breathe in pure, clear energy through your nose and throughout your body, you relax more. And as you continue to relax more, you can place your hand on your heart, the center of your chest. And as you're focusing on your heart and breathing this nice, beautiful, clear, calming breaths, why don't you bring to mind someone or something you love? It could be a person, it could be a higher being, an angel, a guide, something that really makes you feel wonderful, peaceful, uplifted. And as you connect with that wonderful person or being, just breathing it in into your heart, and you're feeling that wonderful energy. And now you can ask yourself a question. What does my heart have to say about opening to the source of truth? And just listen for the answer, which may come now, immediately, or later. And what might your next step be? What's your heart telling your next step in your spiritual journey? Breathing, allowing that to come in. And you may just have a mental note or even write it down if you can.
Mhm.
And then you can open your eyes and come back, feel very grounded and aware in the room or wherever you are. Simon, did you have a connection there?
Could you just read the last one once?
About what is your next step on your journey? What's your heart telling you your next step is?
Like towards obviously inner peace,
Do,
finding soul purpose.
finding more about inner peace, and that's a beautiful connection. I got the
Mhm.
message, check into with my heart regularly, which is something I like to do in my my meditations, and just throughout the day, just always say, am I connected with my heart? What's my heart telling me? Because your mind might be telling you something very different from that. Um, and anyways, going back and to the truth in our heart, which will help us self-realize, we have these different tools that we use for self-realization, and including, as we just did, that was a short version of soul centering or connecting with your heart, and that's where you want to start. But we also want to you can connect with your higher guides or angels. We can get a message for that. And my wife had a big shifting experience a few years ago. Saima, she had an angel Reiki session, a healing session, and at the end of it, she got connected with an angel. Came into her awareness or her meditation, Angel Metatron, who's sometimes called the angel of scribe, the celestial scribe. And some people might know sacred geometry and the Metatron cube. Anyway, afterwards, she followed up the next day and did another meditation and met Metatron. And Metatron said, you need to enlist your full range of resources, your full range of resources. And she wasn't quite sure what that would, but that led her and myself as her partner, husband and partner in our Awakenings Institute business for coaching and healing over the years, into this deeper exploration, connecting with guides and angels, which we had done in the past, but never so deeply and directly and regularly. And that led us to these tools that we write about in our new book, Awakenings to Your Magnificence, which, as I mentioned, is the soul centering, which is so foundational. Because you know what a lot of people do is they, especially, and this is part of the spiritual journey, is you tend to get a lot of the truth or answers from without, you know what I mean? From others rather than from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good to get other people's input, especially people who have a lot of wisdom. But ultimately, you want to find the truth within your own heart, right? And that led us to more regularly connecting not only with our soul, but with higher beings and getting their higher input, because they're in a place where they do have a bigger picture and a bigger awareness. So we're merging with a higher reality. So that's part of the mysteries roadmap we write about. It's also connecting with nature, just because, as you know, a lot of people have lost track of nature. They're inside, they're not grounded to the earth. Things are very artificial, the lighting, even the food, everything gets lost from its natural rhythms, and even connecting and communing with nature. So you can, again, just like you can connect with angels, you can connect on many levels with the trees, the water, the plants all around you. Have you ever had a deep experience, Saima, connecting with something in nature?
Not that.
Yeah. Well, that's something you might consider, and the listener could do. Just it sounds kind of strange to some people about talking to trees or just
Mm-hmm.
sitting trees. Uh, and you will get messages from them, and they can even become your friends. One of the trees in our backyard, who I call Charles, he's like sort of a butler friend. He's just, well, nice to see you, sir. Nice to be with you. Nice. I can hang from his branch and commune with him. And you have this deep feeling of how much nature gives to us and supports us. So that's beautiful. So that's a part of the roadmap. And also healing. Where are we out of balance? Where are we feeling like there's something not there? And there are many different ways to heal. And one of the ways, which we also write about, is going into the Akashic Records. That's sometimes called the cosmic library, which holds all your past, present, and potential future lives. So you can connect kind of with this higher world. Some people have regression, or finding out parts of their childhood that were maybe traumatic or difficult. And you can go to previous lifetimes too. And this Akashic Records, this giant library, is another way you can access this bigger picture. To share a story, one of our students she was worried about her husband because her husband took a 2-hour commute every day to his job, very long. She was very worried something would happen to him. So we took some of this worrying, and she went into the um, Akashic Records. She went into this understanding of herself from a different time or place. And the vision she saw, Saima, uh, was of she was a wife of a soldier in World War II. And she was very worried about him. And the soldier eventually died in World War II, and she became a widow in this other lifetime. And she was never recovered from that loss. And she actually killed herself in that life. And she came back from this journey into the Akashic Records of seeing this past lifetime revealed to her. And it was actually very relieving, because sometimes this pent up pressure and fear we have is we don't know why we're so afraid. It's not that we're not right to be concerned about someone, but if we're exaggerated, we know, or we're panicking, why are we so reactive? Why is our nervous system so off? So once she understood this, she was able to soothe herself more and calm herself. And there's some other healing techniques you can do too, to just put yourself in a more calmer state of mind. So that's some of the roadmap, the mysteries roadmap we write about in the new book, Awakenings to Your Magnificence. Did you have any comments or questions on any of that? Because I kind of covered a lot of material rather in a short time.
Exactly. Phillips, I just recalled one thing, that I have these trees in front of my house, and during my childhood days, I used to consider them my friends. They give me a
Yes.
sense of peace and comfort. But as I grew up, things like gradually changed, and but yeah, for sure, you just so nostalgic.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. We people often have trees or friends, invisible friends when they're growing up, and a lot of this is that the veil between our world here in the 3D material earthly world gets more and more uh, shut off from the other higher realms from which we came. Uh, there's a beautiful poem by the poet William Wordsworth. Our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life star, hath had its setting elsewhere, and cometh from afar, but trailing clouds of glory do we come. And these trailing clouds of glory, we remember them when we're young, and we can talk with the trees and the invisible friends. But the veil comes back down, and it shuts us out. The good news now, and the reason why we wrote the book, Awakenings to Your Magnificence, is this veil is thinning. So these different tools, easier to connect with our soul, connect with nature, connect with past lives, higher beings, archangels, ascended masters, all these things that are here right now, always, everywhere, in this moment, instantly, but often excluded from us, aware, and we're told that a lot of it is not real or not possible by our programming, what others who didn't know themselves were telling us. But now we're realizing we can connect deeply with our soul. We can connect deeply with nature spirits. We
Um,
can connect with angels and higher guides and the masters who've been here before, Saint Germain and Buddha, Kuan Yin, uh, Dwell Cool, and these other ascended masters who were on the earth and actually transcended it and were able to go through the veil and connect with the higher realms and oneness in the universe.
that's noteworthy. So, Philip, what would you say to someone who feels like they have nothing special to offer?
Right. Right. And that at times we all feel that way. And one thing is you can go back into your heart and start breathing and breathing in pure love and light. Just breathe that into your heart for a while, like we did in a moment ago, putting your hands over your heart. And then connecting with someone that you love. And it could be something in nature, like a tree or a nature area that you love. Just breathe that in And as you breathe, nice deep breath, just realize that you are connected with that. And it's that beautiful connection. It could be a beautiful part of nature, that tree or woods or ocean. It could be a beautiful teacher or spiritual teacher for you. You know, could be Buddha, could be Krishna, could be Mother Mary. Any teacher might come to you and connect with you, or just your own inner wisdom. If it were to tell you something positive about yourself, what would it say to you now? And you might just let that sit, and you can write it down or just make a mental note of it. And it could be even an image or a sound. Anything coming up for you, Saima?
You know, Philip, what you said, that's a soul level invitation to stop comparing and start remembering, right?
Yes. So I am a unique being. I am a unique being of God. I am part of the universe. I am part of oneness. Whatever words that resonate with you, the listener. And put your hand over your heart. I am a unique being. I have a soul. I have a unique being. And you can say, even though things may be challenging, I am still a unique being. I am connected with God and oneness in the universe. And that spiritual teacher that you thought of, or that beautiful place in nature, or your soul or your heart, can tell you something positive that you can remember. If you like that, what you heard, you can say that and repeat that regularly.
That's remarkable, Philip. So, you know, for listeners who are just beginning their journey inward, what's one key that can unlock their path to self realization?
Yes, that let's. There are many keys, which is good. So you don't have to uh, do one of figure out one of them. Um, One thing is that you can think of your life as taking one step at a time, knowing, not realizing you won't know where you're going, but just, hey, I can take the next step into self-realization. I may feel, even if you feel lost, confused right now, what is my next step? And that could be something that excites you, something that draws you forward. Uh, and it could be very small. I'm just going to go outside and walk in the backyard. It could be you'll talk to someone that you'd like to speak with. It could be listening to a nice podcast like this one. It could be just smiling. I'm going to just smile right now. Maybe I'm going to smile and walk around. Could be something very small. So narrow it down, and that means, hey, I'm in the moment, and you're feeling more alive, which is a measure of self-realization. How alive do you feel? The more alive you feel, the more you're in the moment, the more you're experiencing your life, the more you can pierce
Mhm.
through the veil and connect with the higher realms as well.
So, what truth do you return to when doubt or fear tries to dim your light?
Would you repeat that, please?
Yeah, sure. What truth do you return to when doubt or fear tries to dim your light?
Oh, if you have a sense of fear, okay, that's a good one. So one of the affirmations we like to use and we write about in the Awakening to Your Magnificence book is opening up to the field of pure potential. So when we're in fear, and I just want to preface, if there's something to really be afraid of, you want to take note and do be careful and safe, but you still don't want to react, because even if something is scary, you want to be sensible and grounded and deal with it effectively. But a lot of fears are imaginary, worries of things that will not happen. What if this happens? What if that happens? So you can say, even though I have this fear, I now open up to the field of pure potential. And that's where you can find answers can come to you. So you can put your hand on your heart and breathe and say aloud, even though I have this challenge or fear, whatever's coming up, I can now open up to the field of pure potential and breathe. And
Mhm.
you just hang out there, just be there for a moment and see what you're experiencing, and allow the energy to shift. And I don't, did you do that, Simon? Did you notice anything? Were
Yes.
you doing? You noticed something, right?
Hmm.
People tend to feel calmer, more resourceful, more alert,
Yes,
more at the moment. Yes.
I completely agree with that. That's the wisdom that lingers long after the episode ends. It's simple, deep, and real.
I like that description. Yeah, we want some of the deepest truths that are sort of simple, right in front of your eyes, just right there in the moment, just staring you in the face. And we often walk right on by it. But if we open our eyes, there's so much amazing things right
Mhm.
before us.
Absolutely. Philip, thank you for being a gentle guide into the vastness within us all. And to all our listeners, you're not here to stay small, you're here to shine. The path to self realization begins with a single breath, a single truth, a single yes to your soul. Until next time, believe in your brilliance, follow your
And
light, and awake to your own magnificence. Yeah, please, Philip, and
Saima, I would, can I share? People might want to get a free resource too that would help them with the
Mhm.
Awaken to Magnificence material.
Yeah, sure.
They they would go to a special tiny abbreviated URL, tinyurl.com/pure dash potential, tinyurl.com/pure dash potential, and they'll learn more how to get into the state of pure potential and awaken to their magnificence there in that free resource kit.
I'm sure that's gonna surely be beneficial for all our listeners out there, Philip. Keep spreading your light and wisdom, and I'll be pretty delighted to have you back on the show for another conversation, Philip.
Great being with you, Saima.
Yeah, it's incredible. Bye.